You're listening to DruidCast episode 193. Hello my friends and welcome to DruidCast episode 193. I am your host Damh the Bard, and DruidCast is brought to you on or around the 20th of the month by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. If you want to find out more about the Order and our courses, you can do that on our website, which is at druidry.org. DruidCast will be a little different this month. It's a Damh the Bard solo show. I've been producing DruidCast since June 2007 and I have never done this before, but life circumstances meant I wasn't able to record a guest interview this month. So my friends, you have me, my music, some poetry, some prose for the next hour. But I've put together a show I think you're going to enjoy. So grab that cuppa, sit back and come with me on a journey through modern Druidry, the Wheel of the Year and the Awen. Modern Druidry is a nature-based spiritual path that draws its inspiration from many sources. Archaeology, the words written by classical writers such as Pliny and Caesar, mythology, the explorations of the Renaissance Druids and poets of the 1700s, such as William Blake, William Stukeley and Yola Morganwg, the ancient sites left by ancestors, folklore, the work of magical Victorian groups like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and of course the cycles of nature. It's a modern tradition that takes its inspiration from ancient sources, and it is firmly rooted in the present moment. Now, after 30 years of walking this path, I'm very comfortable with the fact that this is something relatively new. You could say it's 300 years old, I guess. It's a spiritual path that has blossomed from the earth and soil of a planet breaking from the weight of human-constructed detachment. From a desperate need for us to reconnect with the natural worlds. A path that can quite openly show us that it's not all about us. It's about us, with a capital U. A way humans can recognise that the natural world is not here for our dominion, but instead we are part of the natural world. That when we passively watch a David Attenborough nature programme, those beings we see are our brothers and our sisters with whom we share this incredibly vibrant, alive and magical planet. We need to acknowledge that there is no separation between us because we've created that separation and have been doing that for 2,000 years, and my friends, it is not working. Over the years I've been asked many times what Druidry is to me, and the conclusion I've come to is it's a spiritual path that teaches and encourages a closer and deeper relationship with the natural world, both seen and unseen. Now, people say that if you gathered 50 druids in a room together and asked them that same question, you will get 51 different answers. And that is definitely true. There would be many more personal details to add to the definition I've just given. Some may be polytheists and believe in many gods, others atheists, animists, monotheists and pantheists. Not all would hold the same political views, and the views they do hold would inform their druid path. There would definitely be a hierarchy of importance, but I think what I've just said above is something we would all share, and where we differ is in the detail that surrounds that common ground. We care for the earth, and the way we step into a deeper relationship with the natural world is to stop once every 6 weeks or so to mark one of the spokes of what we call the Wheel of the Year. The modern Wheel of the Year is a blending of two festival cycles that was created in the 1950s by two gentlemen, Gerald Gardner, who founded the Gardnerian tradition of Wicca, and Ross Nichols, who founded the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. The way it happened has been written about many times, so I will not repeat it here. It is told in much more detail in Ronald Hutton's fabulous book Triumph of the Moon. They brought together 4 ancient festivals, Imog, Beltane, Lunasa and Sowing, with 4 solar dates, the winter solstice, spring equinox, summer solstice and autumn equinox, and thus the modern Wheel of the Year was born. So as a wheel, it has no real beginning or end, so people are free to see its beginning at different places. But for me, it begins with the rebirth of the sun at the winter solstice, the time of the longest night and the beginning of solar winter. Solstice means sun in stasis, or sun stands still, and at the time of the winter solstice and for 3 days, the sun travels at its lowest arc across the sky. But after those 3 days, that arc makes a slightly visible move upwards, and that move upwards would be on or around the 25th of December. And you know that date. Is it any surprise that the date of the birth of the sun, S-O-N, was placed at the time that for millennia humans marked the rebirth of the sun, S-U-N? I don't think so. So the sun is reborn at the time of the winter solstice. Folklore and folk traditions, plus the ponderings and writings of modern poets, have marked and added to the lore surrounding the winter solstice, with battles of oak and holly kings for the rulership of the waxing year, kissing under the mistletoe, lighting a candle at the moment of the solstice itself, at the darkest moment of the year. To go out and do a ritual at the winter solstice, to see the landscape around you, taste the chill air, touch the ice, see the mist of your own breath. All of these things remind us where we are in the seasonal cycle.
Cold and bright, the solstice dawn breaks through the doorway of the passage graves. Time out of mind, the stones have stood, marking the nadir of the sun's journey across the sky. Placed by our ancient hands, with stone on stone they were shaped and pulled from the earth's embrace. With magic they were raised upon our sacred land. And at this time of the solstice, a figure waits within the tomb. He waits in darkness and in stillness. He waits for the coming dawn, the rising of the sun, and the footsteps of his brother as the Awen is sung.
The Oak King turns to greet the Holly King and asks, "Brother, what is your name?" To which the Holly King replies, not hard to answer, "I am Awen, Lord of the waning year. I am the King of Holly. I strip bare the leaf-ridden trees. I bring darkness to this land and peace. I banish the warmth of summer and welcome the iciness of winter. And you, my brother, what is your name?" To which the Oak King replies, not hard to answer, "I am Havgan, Lord of the waxing year. I am the King of Oak. I bring bud to leaf. I bring life to the earth. I banish the cold of winter and welcome the warmth of spring. Brother, where do you come from?" To which the Holly King replies, not hard to answer, "I come from Annwn, the other world. And at the time of your greatest power, I am born into this world of Arbred. I ride on Rhiannon's horse to claim my throne. Laughing with the wild hunt, I ride through the night sky. My cold breath makes way for the coming of the Cailleach, and the land is bathed in the beauty of ice and darkness. Whilst Annwn blossoms in your heat, so Arbred has peace, reflection and renewal. Guarded, by Orion of the silver belt. And you, my brother, where do you come from? To which the Oak King replies, not hard to answer. I come from Annwn, the other world, and at the time of your greatest power I am born into this world of Arbred, called by the singing of the birds of Rhiannon. The warmth of my breath and my seed awakens the life within my queen, and the land is bathed in the beauty of our love. Whilst Annwn is ruled by winter and ice, so Arbred blossoms, caressed by the heat of my gazing eye. Brother, what art do you perform? To which the Holly King replies, not hard to answer. I give space to thought, bring renewal from death, bring rest to life and transformation to your crown of green. I light the inner fire and the hearth, and quicken the heart of the beast. My bards are the stillness of the winter sky, the reflection on the water, the tears of the ice. Life returns to that space where dreams are foregathered. Lovers lie before the flickering fires in their homes, and new life is nourished as my lady strips bare the branches and lays her cloak of white across the land. And you, my brother, what art do you perform? To which the Oak King replies, not hard to answer. I lift the saddened heart, bring life to death, shape the hidden green, give flight to birds and insects. My bards sing upon their wing, my orchestra plays music within the land. Life returns, and in that space where thought becomes dream, lovers walk upon the warm earth and lay under the stars and the sun together. And I am here, brother, to take my crown. The Holly King places the crown on the Oak King's head and says, then take this crown, but know this, even though you begin your rule, my frost will form, my touch will turn leaf to earth, turn the fields to hardened mud, and I will cool the oceans. For although you take the power of light, I retain the power of winter, until your lady joins you at Beltane. The wheel moves on to Imbolc or Candlemass, marked around the time of the 1st or 2nd of February. This is seen by many as the first spring festival. It might seem a little strange to celebrate the arrival of spring at what for many is the coldest time of the year. But if you look carefully, you will see the arrival of the first flowers, the snowdrops. And you will see the arrival of the very early spring lambs in the fields. As the dark, cold morning gives way to light, and the world shows its face, dazzling in her nakedness, so the twigs and leaf-bare branches bow to the passing dance of old Jack Frost. His crystal breath on the earth, and the corners of the houses weep icicles of joy. But where is the sun's warmth? Where is life? A small flower, delicate and pure white, looks to the earth, as if talking to the waiting green. Not yet, it seems to whisper. When I fall, then you can return. And she nods her head as the lady passes by, leaving more white flowers in her wake. The wheel turns to the spring equinox, the time of equal day and night, the time of balance and a fulcrum of the year. Ahead lies lighter days, behind us lay the dark days of winter. This is the beginning of solar spring, and we can see spring clearly arriving. Daffodils and crocuses are in bloom, the early trees are in leaf, and some are beginning to blossom, bringing them the blackthorn winter, as the blossom of the blackthorn trees arrive before the greenery of their leaves. If the winter solstice celebrated the rebirth of the sun, then the spring equinox celebrates the rebirth of the green, and this is done by giving eggs, often chocolate eggs, a tradition we see at the time of Easter. The wheel moves on to Beltane, Beltane, May Day, on or around the 1st of May. I say around the 1st of May because nature doesn't always comply with our calendar. The solstices and equinoxes arrive dead on time as the sun moves into an area of the sky. But the seasonal festivals are led by signs within nature here on earth. For me, living in the south of England, I mark the arrival of Beltane with the coming of the May Queen in her guise as the flowers of the May tree, the hawthorn. Now, one Mayflower Beltane does not make, and I mean Beltane is here when the hedgerows are literally dripping with long arms of Mayflowers. To me, that is the virgin skin of the land, untouched, fertile, fecund and beautiful. The wheel of the year is an ever-turning celebration of birth, death, harvest and rebirth. We buy our food, often items way out of season packaged on supermarket shelves. The age when the people of the village would get together to bring in the harvest has been and gone, and with it much of our connection with our food. I once heard a Druid say, "My Druidry has nothing to do with fertility," and I wondered, how are you alive? And how are you staying alive? If I consider the foundation of the wheel of the year for me, it's a continuous cycle of thanksgiving for the life I have and the life that is given to sustain me. So to me, Beltane is all about the fertility of the land, without which I would not be here.
My shackled feet, they long to be free from this modern Rome. The ancient moors and the granite shores, they are calling me home. Sometimes this city is too much to bear. I hear a calling in my soul. The mother's waterways will take me where life has begun, under a Beltane sun. As the children play, skylark sings to the swift on the wing in the bright clear day. Sometimes this city is too much to bear. I hear a calling in my soul. The mother's waterways will take me where life has begun, under a Beltane sun. Salmon swims and the diamond stream sings with the blackbird's song. Sometimes this city is too much to bear. I hear a calling in my soul. The mother's waterways will take me where life has begun. Under a Beltane sun. Under a Beltane sun. Under a Beltane sun. Under a Beltane sun. Under a Beltane sun.
The wheel moves on to the summer solstice. If the winter solstice marked the rebirth of the sun, then the summer solstice is the sun at its zenith. On this day the arc of the sun is at its highest, and again for 3 days it moves that same arc, before on the 25th of June it begins to descend back down. After the summer solstice, days are getting shorter again, and we have entered the waning year. If there is one date that is associated with modern Druids, it's the summer solstice. But that's mainly because of one particular Druid group who meet at the Stonehenge in their white robes, and quite a sight to see it is. And then in the 90s there was the Stonehenge Free Festival. Why are we so drawn to mark this date? Is it because we know somewhere deep inside us that life on this planet, all life, is dependent on the stellar dance and relationship between the earth and the sun? I think that's true. Just like the birds sing the dawn chorus, so we sing our chorus at the winter solstice, the dawn of the year, and then we sing again at the summer solstice, the noon chorus. Old and new folklore traditions repeat here with the next battle of the Oak and Holly King, but this time for the rulership over the waning year. The wheel moves on to Lunasa or Lammas, on or around the 1st of August. This marks the first harvest, the grain harvest. Now people walk the Druid path all over the world, and this cycle doesn't always fit with the landscape that you live in. Here in the south of England it works perfectly, but in the southern hemisphere the equinoxes and the solstices are reversed, and many also reverse the 4 agricultural festivals. In many places in the northern hemisphere the grain is either not being harvested on the 1st of August or is already in. And if it's like that where you live, do you still choose to mark Lunasa or Lammas by the grain harvest, or is there something else happening in the natural world around that time that shows change? None of this is written in stone. We're told the Druids never wrote anything down, and I think I know why. Because the book is already written. It's the book of nature. Let nature tell you the story of the Wheel of the Year where you live, if it doesn't match the cycle and signs created by Gardner and Nichols 70 years ago. This is another reason not to write these things down, as they can become seen as some kind of liturgy, rules to conform to. But this is actually about a relationship with the natural cycles, not trying to shoehorn a seasonal cycle into somewhere else. So let nature be your guide always when it comes to the Wheel of the Year.
At the festival sounds a horn calling the people again. Child of Barleycorn, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. maids clothed all in green, Tayel to you, his mother true, who rise up and be seen. At the festival sounds the horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. At the festival sounds the horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. The child who told from spring to fall is off to find a wife, but Balak came to make his claim and swore to take his life. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. From noon till night, then Lu did strike in one, and Balak's eye flew in the sky, and there became the sun. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. With Aaron in the north, and there they lay for many a day, and soon a child came forth. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. To force a tenter was his name, and then at length and on a strength Cahulan he became. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain. At the festival sounds a horn, calling the people again. Child of Polycon, newly summerborn, ripening like the grain.
The wheel moves on to the autumn equinox, and we find ourselves once more at a time of balance. The balance of equal day and night. But this time, the fulcrum is falling towards the dark of winter, not the light of summer. The hedgerows are heavy with berries and fruit. The light can visibly change as the sun moves ever downwards. For many, this is another time of harvest, and we see that in our schools with the harvest festivals. As we step out of the ritual of the autumn equinox, we step consciously into the first shadows of darkness, as the nights really begin to draw in. And the wheel moves on to Sowing, on or around the 31st of October. Folklore says that the veil between the worlds is at its thinnest at this time of year. The veil also thins at Beltane and May Day too. But it is at Sowing that we remember those who have walked the path that leads to the oceans of the west, the path of those who have died. It is said that all the time the names of those we love are spoken upon the wind, so they will know that they are remembered, and that is what many do at Sowing. The circle is cast, the mists of the other world are called forth, and we step into those mists, calling out the names of those we loved in life. And through the thin veil, they hear their names being called, and know that there are still those who love and remember them. For what is remembered never truly dies. We share a symbolic feast with them in their honour, and it's an emotional time. Of course, this thinning of the veil has led to the secular festivities of Halloween that take place at this time of year. The people of the other world also ride out at both Beltane and Sowing, and this can be seen in the chaos of the weather sometimes, in the general feeling of the year, and in those armies of children doing their trick-or-treats.
Close the door, keep out the storm. Far away, far away. Keep the need fires burning till dawn. Whoa, whoa, leave my soul. For the cold will come this night, far away, far away. Frost will form and ice will bite. Whoa, whoa, leave my soul. Whoa, whoa, leave my soul. Please pass me by when the evening falls. Whoa, blessed are we, the hunter of souls we shall see on Sowing.
I am the shadow who calls to your soul.
I can hear the hunter's hounds far away, far away. I will cast a circle round. Whoa, whoa, leave my soul. Raven witch, I feel your breath far away, far away, bringing with you summer's death. Whoa, whoa, leave my soul. Whoa, leave my soul. Please pass me by when the Master of souls we shall see on Sowing.
I am the shadow who calls to your soul.
Sunrise, the tolling bells, far away, breaks the raven witch's spell. Oh, blessed are we. The leaves of the oaken king fade away, fade away. Feed the seeds that will come in the spring. Whoa, blessed are we. Whoa, blessed are we. Summer will come with the May on the tree. Whoa, and hail to the Queen, and under the sun we shall sing to call in the spring.
The shadow who calls to your soul.
And the wheel turns and brings us back to the winter solstice, ever onward, ever turning, no beginning and no end. One of the best ways to connect with the wheel of the year is to go outside to the same place for each festival. Then once you've been there for a full turning, go back for the second year. Looking around at the same landscape through the turning of the wheel can really connect you to the seasons and the area you live in. Now, why have I spent so much time on the wheel of the year? I'll tell you, because to me it is the most wonderful gift of the modern pagan traditions. A beautiful mandala that holds in it so much more than the dates. There are the elements, the cycles of day and night, of life, death, rebirth, and the symbolism is deep, magical, and above all, it is ours. No introduction to modern Druidry is complete without the energy called the Awen. Written about in a number of ancient poems by the bard Taliesin, he says, "The Awen I sing, from the deep I bring it." So the Awen is to be sung, and its origins in the deep, which in Brythonic folklore is a place called Anuvn. The Awen is brewed within the Cauldron of Cerridwen, the mother of Awen. 3 drops of the brew bestow the gift of wisdom and insight, to know all that is, was, and ever will be. The Awen is the gift of poetic inspiration. The poems of Taliesin, myths and legends of the Mabinogi, hold within them great lessons. We see the energy of Awen in many other ancient myths and legends across the world. The poems of the great bards and skalds all point to the connection to the natural world I've been talking about. When Taliesin speaks in his poetry of being all things, it's because he entered into that direct relationship with nature and knew in that moment that he was part of everything and that there was no separation. And that to me is the mystery. That to me is the quest of the Druid. That to me is the common ground we all share. And that to me is Druidry.
Silver moonlight dances from the mists of Teggett shore. A lady looks upon her son like many times before, and she touches his face, fingers wet with the tears falling. Her daughter stands beside her, the fairest in the land. How her son became so cursed she cannot understand. But this mother's love is as strong as her heart is beating. And she calls to the earth, and the earth hears her calling. Saffron stands tall. All magic and all mysteries are held within these walls. So she walks to the door. As she does, the door it opens. Teach to me the mystery of the cauldron's brew. Let utter darkness give way to light and be reborn anew. Then the Awen will shine from the brow of the eagle of the sea. And all will know his name from this land to the people of the sheep. The lady set the cauldron's fire, tended by the hand of Gwion Bark the innocent, and Morda the blind man, who reached out his hand. Place more wood, keep the cauldron boiling. Then Morda, he fell asleep, alas he didn't see. Wood upon wood was added, the inferno was the key to unlock the door of the Awen's greatest mystery. 3 drops burning skin, and it's Gwion who gained the power to see. The cauldron cracks, the poison creeps slowly across the land, to kill the horses of Garanir at the lake shore where they stand, drinking and not knowing their fate, as a hare runs fast across the land. Cerridwen, Cerridwen, lady of the cauldron, come see what they have done. Stolen your cauldron's power and betrayed your only son. Your eyes wide, lips curl, anger on your face. Change your shape now, lady. Be the hound. Begin the chase. Begin the chase. Begin the chase. I shall be a running hare with sorrow and with mickle care.
Then I shall be a greyhound bitch and tear you from your skin.
Then I shall be a flying wren, the king of birds, the king of men.
So I shall be a falcon grey and tear you from your skin.
Then I shall be a salmon sleek, darting through a shallow creek.
So I shall be an otter bitch and wrest you from your skin.
I shall be a grain beneath the sun, and you will never know which one.
Then I shall be a great black hen and take you deep within.
To think my tale is over and done, but 9 moons later she gave birth to a son that she wanted to kill, but she placed in a coracle on the sea. Garanir salmon weir, a catch was guaranteed, but on this day a baby boy cried out to be freed. A radiant brow, shining bright for all to plainly see. Taliesin is your name, the greatest bard that this land will ever see.
Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that little audio journey. I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed putting it together for you. But this music means we are approaching the end of the show. But before I go, let's have the results of last month's competition. The prize was a copy of the Poetic Edda, translated by Caroline Larrington. And the question I asked was, what is the name of the Norse alphabet we talked about in last month's interview? Well, the answer was the runes, or the Elder Futhark, and the first name drawn from the hat and winner of that brilliant book is David Warwick from Geelong, Australia. Congratulations, David. That book will be on its way to you very soon. The prize this month is a copy of a fabulous new book called The Wheel by Jennifer Lane, subtitled A Witch's Path to Healing Through Nature. And it really links beautifully with what you've just heard about the Wheel of the Year. And the question I'd like you to answer is, when the Northern Hemisphere is experiencing the summer solstice, which solstice is happening in the Southern Hemisphere? When the Northern Hemisphere are experiencing the summer solstice, which solstice is happening in the Southern Hemisphere? Email your answer along with your full postal address to podcast@druidry.org, and one of you will win a copy of that lovely book. Well, that is a show. Have a wonderful solstice, whether it's the summer here in the northern hemisphere or the winter to all of our friends in the southern hemisphere. Oops, might have just given away the answer to the question this month. Never mind. I'll see you back here next month for DruidCast episode 194. But until then, I wish you all peace and blessed be. Goodbye.